lick back. Get your lick back. If a nigga owe you something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your dishes splat. Stop letting dishes slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. I feel like I'm JX.
J-Way.
I'm a perfectionist. Adderall got me restless.
I'm gone.
Run with a wild crew, they get reckless. Young boy, come up off that neck.
Give me that.
To the trends. See a lead, be the band.
Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Corner of the Copa. I'm here with my co-host, Coach. I'm sure I really don't have to ask you, but I ask every show. How you feeling?
I'm crushed. I'm devastated. That was everything we couldn't have happen in a game in multiple areas happened in one game. I'll be frank, this team's margin of error just to get in was like literally 0.1%. That was the margin of error that we had since August, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And given the overall offensive inefficiencies, in some areas defensive inefficiencies, the margin of error in the playoffs was practically the same. This team had to be damn near perfect, 99+% of a game to make it to give them a chance.
Which is a lot to ask, but
right. And yeah, I mean, we'll get into some of the other stuff, but yeah, I mean, overall, that was crushing. I mean, every game we've talked offline, every game, including Houston, we've had to sweat out. Not just every game, damn near every inning we've had to sweat out just because of the way this team has been kind of made up on the fly over the last couple months. The system is in place as long as something doesn't go sideways, and they could maybe kind of survive, which they did a little bit. Job in Houston, they came back with a Banez big hit. Malloy made a base running mistake, but it was kind of a great throw in the outfield in game 2. Carey came through in the 9th inning. You take away some of those big hits in this postseason, this team would be lucky to score 2 runs a game.
Well, take away the big hits. I mean,
that's really big hits.
I mean, yeah, I get that. But just to recap the game, the series is now knotted up at 2. The Guardians take the game 4 of the series, where the Tigers kind of were in the driver's seat, had an opportunity to shut them down and end the series in Detroit. But we will be going back to Cleveland. The Guardians jumped out to a lead early in the game. And, just the moral of the story is they made a lot of the plays that needed to be made in order to win the ball game. They had the steal early in the game, which we kind of talked about in the group chat, which essentially the single, and it enabled him to score on the single. The big home run from Ramirez, big home run from Fry, and then the insurance run on the squeeze from Fry, which they ended up needing because the Tigers were able to eke out another run in the 9th inning, thanks to Justin Henry Malloy getting the double to start it. I think Meadows grounded the first, got him over, and then was a sacrifice fly from somebody?
No, it was a fielder's choice ground out to the first base side.
Okay, another roll. Oh yeah, McKinstry, I think. Yeah, had a ground out to first base. But yeah, Malloy's had a really good playoffs. McKinstry had a huge home run today. But ultimately we went 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position. Torque grounded into one double play. Yeah, it looks like just one double play, but Ibanez nearly had a home run today. He hit an opposite field fly ball to the warning track, but just not enough offense. Rogers didn't get any hits today. Keith has been pretty non-existent in the playoffs. He's hitting under 100 as of right now. And one of the one of the bigger things that happened, Kerry Carpenter, came up a little lame as he was crossing home plate earlier, which is why he was pulled from the game. So, disheartening, takes a lot of wins out of our sails. We're going to have to go back to Cleveland, but, this team does not give up. I think it's going to be another tough fall game, and it's just going to be a little bit more difficult to get the job done. But you think we see Skubal tomorrow? I mean, Skubal after the rest game, travel day?
I mean, there's no question.
Yeah.
Problem. I don't say problem. I think the issue is with what we're facing now, and what unless we are graced by some salvage of a miracle after that game tonight, that Kerry just suffers like a very minor tweak, that the day off with therapy and whatnot, treatment can get him right to get back into a normal role, depending on who Cleveland starts. I mean, if they lose him, I mean, this whole platoon thing falls apart, because you need both sides of the left and right side to equally counter their arms and what they've been doing over the last 2 months. And frankly, he's been our best power. He's been by far the best power hitter on the team with what little power we've had to begin with.
Well, I think Malloy has proven that he can probably hit a right-hander, because he got did get a double down the line against probably the toughest pitcher to hit in the entire major leagues right now. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that despite the momentum being gone and this being kind of a, disheartening effort, I mean, we still have the best pitcher in the world going into that game. So if there was ever an ideal situation it's not an elimination game. It's it's elimination on both sides. I mean, I think that's who we want out there. Of course, we would have liked to shut the door and get the job done, but this team has fight in them, and it's not over with. But let's see what Troy's talking about. He said, Troy said this was a tough loss, guys. Absolutely. I would have intentionally walked Ramirez with 2 outs, nobody on, but who am I? I mean, that so rarely happens, and Ramirez hasn't done anything up until this point. But I mean, yes, maybe you feel a little safer dealing in that situation. Malloy has crazy potential. I'm looking forward to his future. Love trading Joe Jimenez to get him. Yeah, Malloy. He stepped up, because he didn't have a good follow-up going into the playoffs, and he very well could have been kept off of the roster. It just so happened that we have a ton of lefties, and he's a right-handed bat that we kind of needed. So, but yeah, he's proven himself, and I feel like I think he solidified that outfield as a whole. I think it's very evident what we need to go all in on in the offseason, but we're not in the offseason yet. We're not in the offseason yet. We're not to that point. Let's get to the first break. All right, Coach. So in your opinion, what we kind of talked about things, but what were the key shortcomings that we had? I mean, what jumped out at you as far as things that rubbed you the wrong way, or just made the difference in the loss today?
Quickly before that, just on the Malloy thing. I mean, I think his potential is it's a lower ceiling than we think, just because of his splits are so bad against right-hand pitchers so far. And if he's already been platooning the same way Kerry has, and frankly, I think Kerry's got a higher ceiling comparative to the two, and they do the exact same thing from the other side of the plate. I don't know heading in the future how he can have both those guys in the same team and still do what he wants to do in terms of, McKinstry, Veerling, players like that. But, we'll dive into that another time. But as far as this game, we talked about it a little bit offline and before the game, well, Foley hadn't pitched since game 1. I was kind of surprised to see Holton come in so early, but again, it was that high leverage. It was the top of the lineup, and the pitching cast has been successful when he utilizes, in back-to-back games, he utilizes practically all of his arms that are available. And there's proof in that pudding, as they say. But Holton's been knocked around. He's had one good outing this series, and that was yesterday, where it was a clean inning. The others, he's had issues. He's got over a 10 ERA. I know it's, he's only thrown X amount of innings, but, you look at the rest of the guys outside of Skubal, they haven't thrown really too many more innings other than him as well. I just think it was AJ had finally incidentally fallen into a pattern of predictability, and the Guardians were ready for it. Holton has 3 games, it's 5 earned runs, 3+ innings, because he couldn't record an out in game 1. He got pulled. If it wasn't for Olson getting an out in that first at bat with inherited runners, it would have been an infinite ERA. 4 hits, 5 earned, a couple long balls, 2 strikeouts and walks, 1 save, 1 hold, and a loss. A 10.38 ERA. Bo finally got hit. I mean, that's a tough pitch. 2-2 count. You throw a fastball after that slider went all the way back to the screen. Jake is, because Jake's calling this game, all these games. I guarantee he was thinking, I'm not going back to that. We do that again. The runner now scores from third. I have to go fastball here. And it looked like he was setting up, wanted to go below the knees for a ball. He wanted him to chase, and he missed that pitch by about a half a foot easily. And he threw it about thigh high, which, even at his speed for a major leaguer, man, you get that barrel around that speed, as we talked about, speed with Class A, here's the irony of it. Speed can also work against you. And Fry just put the barrel right in that happy spot. And that thing was about a no doubter as Carey's was, and Ramirez early in the game. And that was a missed opportunity there on some, and it wasn't just him. Olson a bit erratic. His curveball was terrible until the very last at bat. I think he finally got a strikeout swinging or looking on a curveball. He'd thrown most of them for balls that weren't even close. So now he becomes a 2-pitch pitcher, like a reliever, even though he's a traditional starter for us, and he becomes a little more predictable. So again, all those little things fell into place for them, despite some of our efforts to either reclaim or tie the game. And then Kerry Carpenter pulling up lame, coming to home. I think that would any other player on this team, I think we could have absorbed that kind of blow. But what he has meant to this offense and what he's capable of doing, it speaks volumes. And, should he be out Saturday, man, it makes that mountain that much tougher, because I feel like we lose a little bit of that edge with Skubal against them, so yeah, I don't know. We've had cold bats too, but I'll let you go ahead and speak, and we can jump back to, some of their offense.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Kerry will have to be pretty hurt to not give it a go, unless they start with a lefty. If they start with a lefty, I think he probably doesn't play anyway, or he doesn't start anyways. But yeah, obviously he's been a big part about how we've done. At this point, I'm pretty content with Malloy being the DH. But I mean, I don't know. The game is all about momentum. I'll say that. But that would have suggested that we would have handled business today. I think I don't feel. I mean, I don't know. I was ready for this series to be over with. It would have been nice, but until the season is over, I have no reason to not believe that this team is going to continue fighting. We didn't get trounced today. We didn't get blown out. It may feel that way, but when it's all said and done, we had an opportunity to tie that ball game. Now, granted, that squeeze in the 8th inning really cooked us because we did end up still for whatever reason we've got on Clase a decent amount. He hasn't had a clean outing the entire series. And
I think this is only his second appearance, right?
yeah, second appearance. Well, yeah, of course, because
Yeah.
we shut them out yesterday, so there was no reason to use them yesterday. But yeah, I think we're still in a decent situation. Guys like Wenceel Perez continue to stand up in big opportunities, and we just got to throw everything but the kitchen sink at them when it tomorrow. Meadows continues his streak of appearance, getting on base, consecutive games, and we just got to hit better with runners in scoring position. I mean, easier said than done. It's something that has plagued us for a lot of the year, but we're here because we're in this situation because of one, our pitching, which we have the best pitcher in the world going on Saturday, and two, because we just find a way to get the job done. Zach McKinstry, it would have looked crazy if we would have said, hey, you know what, we're going to be in an ALCS game, and Zach McKinstry is going to be our starting third baseman. It would have sounded crazy, but at this point, how can you go against the grain on that when the guy hits has another big extra base hit? Turns out to be a home run. He just has ice water in his veins, and the stage is never too big for the guy. So, yeah, there's no reason to be too down on the situation. Unfortunately, we have to sit and let that and let that loss stew as we get back on a plane and head to Cleveland for an elimination game. But yeah, I feel that we should still. I mean, what are the chances that Veerling is going to strike out 3 times again? We know that's not a Veerling type game. He just he didn't look good today, but he's another guy that's been dependable throughout this entire year. So yeah, where are we at right now? What anything else or any
Yeah, I mean, so I agree with Malloy. He gives us the best option. I mean, now that means McKinstry's probably gonna. I mean, that's the other thing too. Now all of a sudden, Young is gonna have to maybe do something that he's not potentially ready for. Look, I'm not trying to bash these guys, all right? But given the history of the numbers we've seen and watching them, you and I both have collectively watched over 10, 12 games this year in person, you more than me. Mm-hmm. And some more so late down that stretch. Dingler hasn't gotten the field for a reason. Young was only put out there because they didn't have another choice because McKinstry had started and the rest of the guys in the bench had been used. It makes a situation that was manageable for us given the blueprint and the approach. Now it's kind of like broken chunks. So Malloy's going to get the DH spot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any reason you take him out whatsoever I don't care if he goes 0 for 5. You don't have a choice. McKinstry's going to start third, and then Veerling it was somehow working in Wenceel.
Okay, so
Work's going to have to play the whole game too.
So
I mean, that is what it is.
Okay, so you start. So it's either at this point, it's either Perez or V or McKinstry, right?
For which spot?
So because we got Green, Meadows for certain in the outfield, no matter what.
Yeah.
And then if McKinstry plays, he's got to play third because Sweeney's playing shortstop, right?
Yep.
It's short. Yeah. So Sweeney's a lock at short. So it's either going to be Vierling or McKinstry at third, or Vierling in place of Perez.
So that's why
unless you sit Malloy and let
no, you sit McKinstry and you let Vierling play third, and you let see that's why this whole thing is so predicated on all these guys being healthy for it to work. Yeah. Now it comes to the point where all these guys are pretty much have to play almost the entire game. You're going to have legitimately one guy on the bench that's been in this regularly in McKinstry that's going to be able to come in, but then what are you going to do? Pinch hit him for Perez? And then move Vierling to right? I mean, that seems a little backwards. I mean, that would be – you could do that. You know, Perez, along with Malloy, have been producing more in terms of just raw numbers this postseason. Of course, they've had fewer at-bats, but when they're in, they're producing. So, I mean – you almost have to throw out this platooning thing out the window. Literally, you might have.
Yeah, I don't think the only. I think that what will benefit us is you put if they start a lefty that destroys all mystery, because Vierling plays third over McKinstry because McKinstry not against a lefty. You let Perez bat right-handed. You put Malloy, who's good against lefties at DH. There's no mystery there. You probably lead off Malloy, put Meadows towards the bottom because that's normally what he does. Sweeney's at the bottom, Rogers at the bottom, Vierling at the top. Green still plays the top. Keith is usually fifth or something like that.
That's the other thing with him too. Normally, you could have flexibility with Ibanez coming in to a degree.
Well, no, Ibanez, no. A lefty. If it's a lefty, Ibanez plays. You put him at first. If you're
torque, all right.
If you're being serious, you put Ibanez, and because he just missed one earlier today against a lefty.
Oh, dude, like 4 or 5 feet. It looked like he was right up against the wall, practically almost.
So yeah, you put Ibanez at first because I really feel like you lose nothing defensively for the most part. Yeah, and then so you got Torque coming off the bench, you got McKinstry coming off the bench, and then you got Young available against a righty, I guess, if need be, but that's all predicated on whether or not Kerry Carpenter is truly well. I don't know. Do you? Hinch probably doesn't start, or maybe you throw it all out the window. You put your best hitter out there and say, screw it. If he strikes out 4 times against a lefty, you live with that because you're gonna see a righty eventually, or you give him that opportunity. My whole thing is this. I know we're critical about Hinch. Well, more so you than me. Hinch pulling Carpenter against a lefty. My thing is this: if Carpenter truly believed in himself, do you think AJ says no? You're not batting a lefty against a lefty.
He's done it. Why would he change now? Why now?
The timing. I feel like Carpenter is on board with that because it's that difficult for him. I think.
Well, I think AJ's taking that all out of their hands. He's told them, I said, look, this is the way we're going to do it. Either all buy in, this works, or if we don't, if some of you don't, then it won't work. It was kind of, it's literally an all or nothing kind of thing right now. And, and look, you and I know, like, hamstring injuries at the pro level, man, dude, those are days of time off, if not some. I mean, we've seen NBA players miss 4 to 6 weeks with hamstring strains. Like, again, I know there's certain grades and whatnot, severity, but even a minor hamstring pull can cost a guy, even in the major leagues, 7 days.
Do we know that to be what it is?
Well, the way he was pulling up, I mean, it wasn't his ankle. I mean, I thought maybe
looked like his toe, maybe, but I don't know.
It looked like a hamstring. The way he kind of came up, he didn't grab it, but I mean, the way he was running was clearly indicative that that it was a hamstring. A calf, a strained calf, you usually kind of you kind of go down and grab it, almost like a cramp, if you will. But I mean, he went right into the tunnel and never came back out. So
no, you're right. You're right.
it's that's like a sprained ankle. I think he maybe would have been able to suck it up,
Yeah.
that in 48 hours time, there's some treatment and whatnot, and you can do to get it back a bit better. Hopefully it wasn't swollen too much. It usually takes 24 hours to die down, or at least maybe be available in a pinch hitting role. But man, you pull a hamstring, that's your ability to drive in the batter's box and run. And if you can't do any of those things, you're pretty much swinging on one leg, and you're going to lose a lot of contact, a decent amount of power, and you're going to it changes your approach, And look, I'm not saying he's not capable of it. There's been players over the years and in big moments and big games that have come through while hurt. I mean, shit, saw Schilling pitch on a bloody ankle after surgery. But obviously this is not that extreme, but you're talking about an injury that has the ability to severely hamper a power hitter, a guy who uses his lower half to drive that ball and put a tremendous amount of exit velo on it.
Yeah. We're gonna get to one break. Yeah, we're gonna get to a break. We're gonna get to Troy's comments, and then we're gonna probably wrap it up. Yeah, I mean, obviously we got to take the game, got to take games one game at a time. So if we can just get through one game, possibly without Carpenter, that'll still give us life and give us an opportunity to, try to compete to get into the World Series. But yeah, we'll see where we're at. Obviously, it doesn't look favorable as far as him being ready and being even close to 100%. But we'll just wait and see. Let's see what Troy's talking about here. He said Skubal projects to pitch ALCS Game 3 and possibly Game 7. We need him in Game 1 and 5. Now he may only pitch if we make the ALCS. Yeah. You think that so Troy thinks that he might not pitch tomorrow or Saturday. Boy pitched Game 2, so he will project to start, but we will see what they do. No guarantee. Troy, at best, we pinch hit carry late in the game and get a pinch runner for him. Yeah. Charles, welcome to the channel, Charles. What happened, Carey? As he walked, as he crossed home plate, he came up a little gimp. Coach anticipates that maybe it is a hamstring, which isn't a stretch. No pun intended, but we'll see. I'm not sure. Troy, guys, where has Foley been? Love Job, but we really trust him over Foley. I mean, Job did well though. Job didn't give up a run, right?
He gave up a run in the 8th inning. That was the kill. On the squeeze. That would have been a time for Foley to get back on the right track after being wild in game 2 against Houston. I don't think he's pitched this. Or did he pitch in Game 1 against Cleveland?
Maybe in garbage time, but yeah. So yeah, Job gave up the squeeze, and then Vest closed it out. That was the 9th inning. Did that all happen?
I mean, he came in, and Job came in for the 8th and got 2 outs in the 9th and gave up that. I rather would have seen Foley out there because get the fact that they're all going to say the right thing externally. But if I'm Foley, I'm thinking, I was the team leader in saves. I had one wild game in Houston. All of a sudden, I haven't seen the mound in a week. That I don't care what type of player you are. That does have some kind of effect to a variable degree. And now 5 all hands on deck. How is he going to perform now? It'll be 9 days since he's last pitched. And you've shown no confidence in him in this whole series to throw him. And you've thrown Job twice in high leverage situations and once in Houston after Foley was wild in Game 1.
Charles says we'll win game 5. I agree with Tarek. Absolutely. On the bump for sure. I agree.
It's gonna have to be like a 2-0 kind of game. I mean, look, Sweeney's 1 for 12 with 8 strikeouts and a sacrifice. Torkelson's 2 for 14 with a sacrifice and two double play balls, and then getting unfortunately caught off the bag in the line out, double up tonight. Veerling's 2 for 14 with 5 Ks, 1 RBI, and 2 walks. Green had a base hit for the first time in 2 games.
No, he had a base hit yesterday. He had a base hit yesterday too.
Okay,
got an RBI yesterday.
Yeah. The crazy thing is the guys have been more productive. The guys who have played in limited fashion, Perez, Malloy, and weirdly enough, Jake Rogers is the only other.
Too.
Well, yeah. Well, this is that was his second appearance in this series in 4 games. It's gonna have to, someone's gonna have to come up with a couple extra base hits, because the fact that we are 6 for 40 runners in scoring position and we've left 40 runners on base in 4 games. I don't care who you are. That's a recipe for a season killer right there. And we've been living on big late game clutch hits producing multiple RBIs. That's what we've been living off of. The 3-run triple by Ibanez in Houston, Carey's 3-run homer in game 2 in Cleveland. That's why I say, you take away some of those hits, man, there goes like almost 2/3 of our runs batted in this whole postseason.
Yeah, we haven't had a lot of. Yeah, I mean, we haven't had a lot of power. It's been a lot of just, opportune hitting at the right time. I mean, a lot of especially when you got a young team, of course, some of these guys are going to shy away to the big game. But, I mean, Malloy's hitting 714. I mean, that is just a crazy number. But Rogers is hitting 278, McKinstry 429. A lot of the guys that you wouldn't have necessarily anticipated. But, hey, it's about time for Cole Keith hitting 071, Torkelson hitting 118, Veerling hitting 174. Any of those guys can wake up at any point. But it's a foregone conclusion that Malloy will be in the lineup hitting 714. I don't care what the situation is. Especially after the double he hit against Clase. I mean, hello,
Yeah.
what else does he have to do after doing that? I mean, he essentially that very well could have been been the tying run had we not had that ridiculous situation. The only thing I can say about Foley over Job over Foley is that maybe they wanted a strikeout type guy, and the fact that Foley's more of a ground ball, if we need a double play type guy. I mean, that's the only way I can justify it outside of them just plain not trusting him at all, and rather putting in a 22-year-old rookie who spent 99% of the year outside of Detroit. Because now is not the time to test him and be like, we want to give you this experience to build you for the future. Like, we have a legitimate opportunity to be in an AL to be in the AL championship series. And it's really not time to tinker and try to, sharpen, Job's steel. So let's see what Troy's talking about here. I don't like Job in late game situations at all. I prefer him earlier with less pressure. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he folded under pressure in this situation at all. I just think that
his command is just not there right now. And I think that's been fairly evident since his call-up. It took him game 2 in his, 3rd or 4th inning total of pitching to get his first strikeout. I understand, we go back to the Houston game. Well, he wasn't really hit hard at all. True. What do you have? A couple base hits, a walk.
Some bloops, yeah.
And his pitch, his strikeout or his strike to ball ratio was nowhere near what it needs to be in terms of the realm of, what is generally in line with, a recipe for, winning bullpen. Flat out, he's just been too wild, too inconsistent. Command's not there. I mean, Foley was wild once, and he had been great for us all year, pretty much. I mean, and those are the guys that got you there. So, you know, it's that's got to be tough on him. It's just as a competitor to know that you've been that guy. You kind of developed into that guy over the last year and change, going back to last year even. And now, you know, in a big time spot when a team needs, you know, someone to come through, now your spot's kind of been, you know, somewhat given away to that 22-year-old who's not shown the ability to handle, in the playoffs at least, handle one inning without really any much traffic or trouble. He's put it on himself, you know, walks, bloops. So.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, looking at Sunday or Saturday, Scooble's gonna have to give us 7 or 8 innings. We'll have to somehow find a way to. I mean, we I think tonight was obvious. We can't rely on a one run lead with that lineup they have over there and the way they've been able to mash the ball. They've not been able to get too many singles off us, but boy, they've been able to get a lot of extra base hits. I feel like they've matched our hit total with almost what they've had in terms of extra base hits. They've had 3 home runs. Quan's had 2 or 3 doubles on his own. I mean, we've had a few doubles. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but have we even had a triple this series? They've had 1, if not 2. I mean, all those extra bases matter when you're that bad already with runners in scoring position. Getting those extra bases matters for them more than any other team in the playoffs when we first started, just because of the nature of that.
Well, especially when they're home runs. They've hit. I mean, they hit it a couple home runs in game 1. They hit a couple today because Ramirez and Fry hit home runs. So
they've hit as many this series as we have the whole postseason. 3.
Right. I feel like I had some. Yeah, Quan's hitting 500. He went 3 for 5 today. So yeah, Quan has turned it around because I think he was pretty quiet the last couple games, but you know, came up in a big way today. Scored 2 runs. Let's see what Troy said. Koki was one of our base hit guys. We need him to get back to hitting, absolutely. And me at Ball Parm X says go Tigers. Welcome to the channel. I've never seen that name before. For anybody that's do you know this? For anybody that's new to the channel, please subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers. And we are on all audio aggregators at Corner to Copa, as you can see on the logo. But we'll be covering the Tigers for as long as we're rocking out, and then of course straight into off-season mode as soon as the season is over. Talking about ways that we can improve the team. I don't know how many of our minor league guys are playing fall ball, but I know Lorenzo had a big game today. I think he had a couple extra base hits. Of course, the question that they always ask: can he play first base? And that is his alternate position outside of catcher. But for whatever reason, they said that he's more valuable if he can play catcher. So I don't even know what that means because I mean, he's young right now, so you know we're not going to find that torque replacement in Theron Lorenzo, you know, who played in West Michigan this year. But the Tigers are forever looking for a new first baseman because the one we got is at the very least you can say maybe one-dimensional, but maybe half-dimension because he's not exactly the best defensive first baseman either. But
now he has. I'll give him credit on this. He has improved his glove since his call back up because he was below like almost a -2 defensive WAR. Now he's gotten it back up to an even 0. But you know, to your effect too. If you can't swing the bat, you got to be able to be positive somewhere, and he just has not been statistically positive in any of the 3 areas. But yeah, I think simply put, this team is kind of being exposed a little bit in terms of a lack of legitimate power. Not to say that Carey isn't, but when his splits are the way they are, and you got to pinch hit him like that. I mean, it's an advantage when you get him out big time. So this team, when that happens, if they don't have a lead, and I hate to. I'm not beating a dead horse, but I swear I've said it in our group chat maybe 10 times in the last 2 weeks. I grind my teeth having to see that happen, him not start or him get more so, not even so much start, because these guys have been clutch in a pinch hit role. Pretty much everyone has in various multiple games throughout the year. It's when he's starting, he gets pulled, because then that's it. It's not high school where you can re-enter a guy after he gets pulled. That's it. He's out. You got to live with what you got now. So, well, that's kind of a little bit of foreshadowing into off-season talk. We'll leave that there. I mean, this is going to have to be like a 3-0, 3-1 at 2 runs heading into the 9th kind of deal, considering how many times we had a lead today and we just could not hold it between the arms that came in and our inability to get runner. What do we have? Three or four times tonight we had a leadoff runner on and we couldn't do anything with him. I mean, that's also been like a bugaboo this series. Leadoff guys getting on, 3 straight outs, or 4 outs, guy gets over to third, and we just cannot do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's a sigh of relief when they see Kerry Carpenter leaving the game for any old lefty. I mean, I can't even necessarily say that they're always, just shut down, great left-handed pitchers. But like you said, it needs to be a 3-0 type of game. And, Skubal has been a demon as of late, especially in the even going into the postseason. So if anybody can get it done, I mean, he's up for any challenge. He's fired up. He's pumped. He's telling 40,000, Guardian fans to shut the F up when he's leaving the mound. Like the dude is a little deranged the more that I watch him play. But I'm pretty confident.
We got a quote on AJ about Kerry that was posted by Jason Benetti. This is direct quote. Yeah, he's going to get some tests done on his left hamstring. He came around third. I think we all saw him start limping back to the dugout, and he couldn't go any further. So we've got to get him looked at. And anytime a player like him has to leave the game, it's concerning. But I'm going to hold off on any thoughts until the doctors give me an update and he gets imaging and all the things we need to do prior to Saturday. So in short, confirming that it is a hamstring injury. Yeah. And I guess we'll figure out, if there's a 10% chance that he could pinch hit, I feel like he's going to try and fight AJ to hold on to that 10%, which, I don't blame anyone in that situation, whether it's our team or another team. That's, they're pro athletes. That's what they do. That's their mentality. But at the same time, man, damn, almost anything else, we would have been like a little bit better off in terms of, the impact of an injury like that. But, can't pick and choose. It's the way the chips fell tonight. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a whole offseason of rehab. If he's got a, barring he didn't just completely. I mean, I'm not going to say it, but yeah, I'm sure he'll give it a go if he's got anything in the tank. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Luckily, it wasn't yesterday with not having that extra day to work things out. So Troy says Game 5 best hitter injured sounds like a gritty Tigers moment to me. And now I love that. Now that is a mentality that I love. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times Kerry only plays half the game anyways. Let's be real. So we're nothing new there. Saturday, I don't know what you got going on Saturday, but I don't think I have anything going on.
I'll be watching on my phone. Unfortunately, I'll be up at Central Michigan.
Right. Right.
So I'll be probably having to watch it on my phone, considering it's around the same time as kickoff. So, enemy territory for me and you.
I know, right? So yeah, we'll wrap it up. Unless you have anything else to say, we can wrap it up. Do the
Scuba no
outro.
hitter, 9 innings, complete
Oh
game.
baby, that'll get me.
Maybe
But,
one hit. All right, I'll give him one hit. Quan's been a fucking animal.
So yeah, we'll wrap it up on that. Subscribe to Bleachers and Speakers on YouTube for the raw, uncut footage, visual side of things, and of course, download Corner to Cope on any of the audio aggregators that you deal with, because that's where we drop everything, with all the fun ads and all that. But yeah, Foster Child checking out, co-host, coach in the building. We out of here.